Welcome. In today's session, I will be explaining about denaturation of proteins. So, denaturation means uh, anything that leads to loss of biological activity is said to be denaturation. So, protein denaturation refers to the loss of three-dimensional structure. Okay, there's the secondary and total loss of secondary and tertiary structures of the protein. So it results in loss of native conformational. The three-dimensional structure of the protein gets lost and only the primary structure remains intact. Okay, so this protein denaturation is accompanied by breaking of non-covalent bonds but not the peptide bonds. Okay, the primary structure of the protein is not affected because denaturation processes are not strong enough to break the peptide bonds. So it uncoils itself into a random shape. Okay. Denaturation results in either coagulation or precipitation of proteins. The change in volume of a protein upon denaturation is an important property that may play a significant role in understanding the denaturation process. So this is the native protein, the three-dimensional or biologically active form of protein. By applying heat or any physical or chemical agents, it gets denatured. Okay, in this denature, only the primary structure will remain. There is no secondary and tertiary structure. Okay. So the denaturing agents includes both physical and chemical agents. The physical agents which cause denaturation includes heat, pH, UV light, X-rays, ultrasound waves, sonication, high pressure and vigorous shaking. Okay, all this will lead to denaturation of protein. And chemical agents means it includes strong mineral acids like H2SO4, HNO3, urea, salicylate, organic solvents, alcohol, acetone and trichloroacetic acid, picric acid, tungstic acid, any alkali and various detergents like sodium dodecyl sulfate all can cause denaturation of proteins. Then exposure to heavy metals like mercury, lead, silver, copper, cadmium and other metal ions with a high atomic weight also can induce protein denaturation. Heavy metal salts can induce protein denaturation by disturbing the disulfide bridge. Okay. What are the changes that takes place during denaturation? So when denaturation is done using heat, the exposed hydrophobic parts of the protein joined together with the exposed hydrophobic parts of other proteins. So clumping of proteins will take place resulting in a process called coagulation. Okay. So during denaturation the protein can either be coagulated or it can also be precipitated. So due to the clumping of these both hydrophobic ends, it results in coagulation. In addition to coagulation, the high thermal sensitivity of the soluble proteins causes other changes in the functional properties and physiochemical modifications including changes in the color, flavor, viscosity, texture or the nutritional value of the protein. So during denaturation, some of the properties like physical properties, chemical properties and biological properties gets altered. So this will include decreased solubility. So the chemical changes means decreased solubility and increased precipitation. Due to its decrease in solubility, it will increase the precipitation. Then unfolding of the polypeptide chain will occur. Increased chemical reactivity due to exposure of many chemical groups, that is SH groups will be exposed. So more chemical reaction can take place. Primary structure remains intact and other structure like secondary and tertiary will get denatured. Increased viscosity so that the rate of diffusion of the protein decreases. A decreased or loss of biological activity or hormonal activity. More susceptible to action of enzymes and increased digestibility. So we all know that cooked proteins are more taste than raw proteins. raw meat. Okay, cooked meat will be more taste compared to raw meat. It also increase the digestibility of the protein. So some examples for denaturation I will be explaining with the properties, how it alters the properties. So when egg white is exposed to high temperature, this is okay, when exposed to high temperature a coagulum is formed due to heat. So heat will denature the egg albumin. So in this picture, in native protein, you can see albumin is translucent. Okay, you can see the albumin content as a white liquid, whereas in the denatured protein you can see a white coagulation is formed due to denaturation of this egg protein albumin. Okay, so formation of coagulant when albumin is exposed to high temperature is an example for protein denaturation. So what are the physical changes which happens during this egg protein denaturation is the color. Okay, the color perception of the color perception in the egg depends mainly on the chemical and physical properties of the egg components. The color of the egg yolk is attributed to fat soluble carotenoids, xanthophylls including lutein, zeaxanthin and beta cryptoxanthin and minor amounts of beta carotene. It was confirmed that the color changes in egg during thermal treatment can accurately predict the non-denaturation ratio of egg proteins. So using this color changes we can determine how much amount of protein is denatured, and we can also say the portions of non-denaturation ratio of egg proteins. Okay. So in the case of this egg white, denaturation of certain proteins which occurs due to thermal coagulation explains the main color changes in the samples, translucency or opacity depending on the applied treatment. The yolk pigments are mainly in the lipidic paste of egg yolk where the lipids are concentrated. With increasing temperature, the yolk gradually turns from a plain orange to a vivid yellow color, while the white gradually changed from transparent to cloudy. So on seeing the color change, we can determine how much of egg protein has been denatured and how much of non-denatured protein remains in the egg. Okay. Next example for denaturation, grilling of fish protein. Okay, so here also you can with the grilling, that is the color changes during this grilling process, we can predict which of the structures muscle proteins as undergoing denaturation first and which of the protein is going to get denatured. Like this variations of protein denaturation you can predict. So heating provides fish muscle with acceptable texture through protein denaturation. Many studies have shown that the denaturation of protein reduces the water holding capacity of muscle, causing shrinkage of muscle fibers and thus a harder, more compact tissue texture and color. The denaturation temperature of each protein and its kinetics can be obtained by differential scanning colorimetry curve. Color changes during this grilling process involves 4 steps. Protein denaturation is the first step. Second step is water evaporation. Third step includes browning reaction and carbonization. Fourth reaction is the carbonization reaction. So this grilling process includes 2 steps. Major 2 steps are: the first step characterized by surface color changes of the sample as thermal protein denaturation occurs. Then second step characterized by a proper brown color formation as a browning reaction, that is Maillard type reaction proceeds. Analysis of this color changes of the fish during the grilling process helps to determine the degree of effective cooking and thus to obtain grilled fish with attractive colors. So thermal denaturation of this muscle or fish protein. Okay, during this process, thermal denaturation, Myosin, muscle proteins means it includes myosin, actin, collagen and sarcoplasmic proteins. During this denaturation process, this muscle proteins will denatured. Okay, it will involves the unfolding of this muscle protein molecules due to rupture of the intramolecular, that is rupture of intermolecular hydrogen bonds. So recent works have reported that by applying heat, progressive color changes in the fish occurs during the grilling process and the progression of the protein denaturation of the muscle. So using this color change itself, we can say the degree of protein which is denatured first. Okay, at the beginning of the grilling process, denaturation of myosin and actin proteins will take place. The denaturation degree of myosin and actin can be effectively connected with the surface color changes of samples in the denaturation temperature range. Okay, we can predict, that means we can predict with the color change itself which of the protein, muscle protein has been denatured. So first, during this grilling process, only the myosin and the actin protein gets denatured first. That's the property change you can observe during this grilling process. Then the third example, we can say take a spray dried whey protein concentrate powder. Okay, so denaturation of whey protein is yet another type of reaction that takes place in response to changes during storage. Conformational changes affects a number of important physical properties of whey powders, including the particle size, surface charge, color, thermal behavior and morphological character. Native whey protein isolates which are stored at 20 degrees Celsius and 23% of relative humidity experienced about 7% of denaturation over 12 months period, while extent of denaturation increased to 33% when the temperature rose to 40 degrees Celsius. So we can we using this denaturation process and varying the temperature and temperature changes also, we can predict the storage period of these dried whey powders. So these are some of the examples for the application of this denaturation process, where you can apply this denaturation process. So denaturation will mainly result in coagulation and precipitation. So I have to know about what is coagulation. Okay, so when heated proteins so these heated proteins will be denatured and form a thick floating particles at its isoelectric point or isoelectric pH, that is called as coagulum. Albumin gets coagulated easily. Heat coagulation test is performed to detect the presence of albumin in urine sample. So this heat coagulation will refers to the precipitation of proteins from their solution by applying heat. Okay, so a coagulum means it is a coagulated protein that precipitates from the solution. So when heat is applied, the coagulable proteins get denatured and are precipitated from their solutions due to loss of solubility. That is the main principle involved here. Okay, so they lose their water solubility. Okay, loss of solubility. And heat coagulation also occurs due to uncoiling and disorganization of the secondary and tertiary structures of proteins. Okay, so this heat coagulation test is performed to detect the presence of proteins albumin in urine sample. Precipitation of proteins. So proteins can be precipitated by using various chemical agents such as mineral acids, alkaloid reagents, heavy metal salts like copper sulfate, mercuric sulfate, barium chloride, etc. and organic solvents like acetone and alcohol also can precipitate the proteins. The protein precipitation is very, very important to isolate proteins from biological samples and in deproteinization of blood and other body fluids. So this precipitation results as a result of removal of water and solubility of proteins. All proteins are less soluble at their isoelectric pH Example is curdling of milk. Then precipitation of a protein occurs in a stepwise process. The addition of a precipitating agent and a steady mixing destabilizes the protein solution. So precipitation by neutral salts. So the precipitation of a protein by neutral salts is commonly known as the salting out process. When a neutral salt such as ammonium sulfate or sodium sulfate is added to a protein solution, the shell of hydration is removed and the protein is precipitated. Okay, this is called salting out. It compresses the salvation layer and increases the protein-protein interaction. So proteins will aggregate and form precipitates. This is a principle involved in salting out process. Then precipitation of protein by salts of heavy metals. So heavy metal ions like copper, lead, mercury. Okay, so here mercury, lead, silver, cadmium and other metal atoms can precipitate the proteins. Since salts are ionic in nature, they disrupt the salt bridges in the proteins. Okay, so proteins exist as negatively charged ions at alkaline pH at their isoelectric point. The positively charged heavy metal ions, that is the cations, will react with this negatively charged protein molecules, anions, to form a water insoluble protein precipitate, that is the protein metal complex. Okay, this property is mainly important for using proteins as an antidote for metallic poisons. Okay, in case of metallic poisoning, egg albumin is given orally to antidote the precipitate the ingested heavy metals. The precipitated protein metal complex is then removed from the stomach using stomach tube. Thus, albumin prevents the absorption of metals from GI tract and reduces the risk of toxicity of ingested heavy metals. Silver is used in the treatment of various infections and wounds. As an ointment, silver is used. It also has an antibacterial and anti-cancer properties. Precipitation by organic solvents. So in the presence of organic solvents like ether and alcohol, precipitation of protein occurs due to less availability of water molecule and reduced dielectric constant of the medium. Precipitation with acid reagents. Strong mineral acids like sulfuric acid and nitric acid can cause precipitation of proteins. If from sulfuric acid you can get that sulfate ion, which is negatively charged particle, and nitrate from nitric acid is also negatively charged anion. So in acidic medium, the protein will be existing in the form of cation, which will complex with this negatively charged anions derived from these acids to form a water insoluble protein complex. Okay. Then precipitation with alkaloidal reagents. Similar to strong mineral acids, proteins are precipitated as protein sulfosalicylate, protein tungstate and protein picrate by the anions derived from the alkaloidal reagents like sulfosalicylic acid, phosphotungstic acid and picric acid. So these alkaloidal reagents can act as a precipitating agents for proteins. Okay. In the tanning of leather also you can see this precipitation reaction. Okay, they are applying this precipitation reaction. In phosphotungstic acid and trichloroacetic acid, these are used as deproteinization of biological samples such as blood, tissue extracts, plasma, CSF fluid, etc. Sulfosalicylic acid is used to detect the presence of protein in urine. In proteinuria, you can use this sulfosalicylic acid test. Okay, precipitation test. So these are some of the biological importance of denaturation of proteins, and we have also learnt how denaturation of a protein is caused and how the primary structure of protein is retained during denaturation process. Thank you for watching this video. Subscribe and support the channel by Chemistry DSP.